Welcome back, you beautiful souls. This is James, also known as the Only Zerg. This will be part 0B to What If Deku Had Ultra Instinct. Now, many of you are probably thinking after watching 0A, why is Deku so weak? Again, I want to iterate what I said within the first couple minutes of the video on the previous episode. That, to me, how I'm evolving UI is there's different stages of power that you can attain simply because of the difference in power between Whis and the Grand Priest. Basically stating that the higher your base power is, the much more of a boost that UI will give you. So Deku, as a baby, having it from birth, has never really had to, really train his body. He's just been naturally strong. He could do anything that he put his mind to as far as physicality, physical stuff goes. And only in some instances, actually strain. Say, at the occasional time he saves someone from getting hit by a car or something. He moves at a great distance and then catches the car and kind of gets pushed back a little bit, Basically, his feet getting moved. So, over the years, Deku is slowly getting stronger would be getting stronger in his base form, but because he's never in his base, it's really hard for him to gain power. So that's why Deku is so weak with UI, in my opinion, which is what I think. There's one person that did a UI video on Goku from birth, and they kind of did the same thing that I'm doing with Goku that is doing with Deku, but he power scaling. I'm just doing a scaling to reference, no actual power level, because Deku's power level very well could be in UI, could very well be 20 or 30 million as a newborn. So, that being said, let's get to our story. Now, for the beginning of this, we have to go back. What is it now? It would be... Yeah, we would have to go back 6 years to the day of Deku's birth. In the far reaches of the galaxy, there's on an alien planet, there's a war being broke out between one person and an entire civilization. As explosions go off behind another person, this person's attendant, we'll say, you can hear the attendant say, "Oh my God. Miris, what is it?" "Well, my lord, it seems like there's somebody that was born that is using Ultra Instinct in the universe. Peculiar. Check it out while I deal with these fools. I keep giving them a chance to get better, to be better than what they are. But they always go to war, to always throw a punch instead of asking first." "Very well, my lord." So Miris, he looks into his staff, and he's searching the universe, scouring, and he finds it in a couple of seconds. It's like, oh my God, wow, my lord, this is very interesting. What is it, Miris? You very seldom say something's interesting. "Well, my lord, it appears that it's a newborn mortal is actually a user of Ultra Instinct. I thought it would be one of the Kais that managed to achieve it. But this is an even extremely, and what's more peculiar, my lord, it's a baby. A newborn baby, just born just a few moments ago. Interesting. Yes. How long would it take us to make our way to Earth? Well, my lord, if we left here right now, it would take us, I would say, 14 days. But, you forget, Lord Broly, we have a bunch of other engagements that we have to deal with. It's a newborn baby, so it shouldn't cause too much trouble for now. We may have about 15 to 20 years before we really have to deal with it. Very well, Miris. Well, I guess these people will never learn. Oh, my lord, are you sure you want to do this? They did have some potential. Yes, you're right, they do have potential, but it seems like they refuse. Peculiar. That one. Maybe. Depending on Miris. There's a soul that's about to enter the heavenly realms. Have it brought to one of the Kais for training. Very well, my lord. That one. And at that, you just hear Hakai. But before that, a beam of light shoots out of one of Lord Broly's pinkies and strikes someone down on the planet. And moments later, the planet's gone along with all remaining inhabitants. Now, we cut back to Deku. I know the comments are gonna blow up, but you'll see why. So, Deku, he's 6 now, and he just got home from the hospital, and his mom is scolding him, and it's like, how many times do I have to tell you, Izuku, that you need to be careful with your strength? Not everyone is as strong as you. Heck, I bet only really All Might and maybe a few other, pro heroes would be able to take a full hit from you. You've got to keep that in mind. And you can just hear, Izuku saying, Mom, I know, I really didn't mean to. My body, I'm telling you, it just moved on its own. And she's like, it's okay, sweetie, just go shower and I'll make something for dinner. I know you didn't mean to, and you just need to be more careful next time. So, this instance is going to have 2 effects on our story. On Discord, I asked, should Katsuki join the dojo that Deku does? And they voted no on grounds of that it's more so wanted that Izuku and Katsuki have a frenemies rivalry going on. They're not really true enemies, but because they kind of sort of view each other as rivals, more so in a one way, it put strife in between the two, so they kind of split in canon. But Katsuki is more not as mean towards Deku. He still picks on him and everything, but Deku always, because of the second change, this makes Deku even more introverted. So he's not really he becomes more reclusive. Except when he's at the dojo, when he's actually consciously thinking of how to react. So, one moment. So, unless Deku is at his dojo, he's not really consciously always thinking about when he's like his surroundings and what's around him. Because in his sparring matches with people, he does pull his punches, but he has to consciously think to stop his body from reacting on its own. So, over the next several years, Deku has managed to rise up to just below a black belt in this dojo. And we're sitting with a 10-year-old Izuku Midoriya. And he's sitting there, first form, second form, now fourth form, third, first. Midoriya, excuse me, pardon my interruptions. Immediately, everyone on the mat, and including Izuku, stops what they're doing and bows. Master, it's no interruptions. Speaking to the Grandmaster of the dojo that they're in, he's like, Midoriya, I need to speak to you after the class is done. And Izuku's like, okay, alright, sensei. And as he's leaving, the entire class says, enjoy the rest of your day, sensei. And then Izuku steps up. Alright, forms through 1 and 3. Forms through 1 and 3. Sparring partners. So you just, from the outside, you just hear a bunch of noise, like people kind of screaming, going, yeah, and stuff like that. Normal sounds you would expect to hear coming from a karate dojo. And it's towards the end of the day. Deku wipes, you cut to a scene where Deku's leaving the mat, and he's kind of wiping his hair through. And he's like, whew. Wow, that actually broke a sweat. And before he all jumped to the car, he said, he's in UI, he wouldn't break a sweat. He's been controlling himself to not rip people's heads off, stopping his body from reacting in that way and pulling his punch, or just simply moving out of the way. And it's taking a lot of his concentration, so he's sweating from stress of the mind more so than physical stress. And he's like, Midoriya, you're done. And he's like, yes, sensei, and the Grandmaster says, go ahead, go shower. I'll be waiting for you. And Mizuki's like, thank you, sensei. And he goes and gets showered, comes out in his normal attire with his duffel bag. And he's like, sensei, what is it that you wanted to talk to me about? And he's like, and Deku's like, is it something I did? And Master says, no, young Midori, it's actually a good thing. Well, you see, we have our annual testing going on this next week, and well, I want you to go through the tests of getting your black belt. And well, there's one final part of the test. You'll be sparring in a tournament style fight with another student, and I want you to spend the next week in the in the mountainous training areas to control your power. I want your goal, in order for you to get your black belt, you're going to have to match your opponent's strength. Don't lose on purpose, mind you, because If you lose, you won't get your black belt. But if you don't hold back, you won't get your black belt. You need to be able to match your opponent and then use a slightly more strength and speed to accomplish your goal. That's going to be your test for you to get your black belt. Sensei, are you sure? And the older man looks at a young Deku, and he's like, I'm sure of it, Midoriya. I believe in you. Thank you, Sensei. So Izuku, he spends the next week running through the woods on pre-set up measures and some traps and stuff that had been set up previously by his grandmaster, and also fending off a wild boar or bear every once in a while. So towards the end of the week, we get to the day of his belt testing, and he comes out and he's like, there's some new people here. And, well, Deku gets on the mat, he's in his full gi, and he has his belt, I'm gonna say he has a blue belt with black tips. With, black tape around the tips, just to symbolize that he's in a teacher role, and he's yet to receive his black belt. And Deku's just thinking this morning, as he's walking towards the mat, he bows to the mat, then he bows to his sensei, and then walks onto the mat. And then when he actually looks up, he sees a new face. And Deku's like, he's new. Well, it doesn't change the fact I need to... And at this, he sees the young man bow to the mat, and then bow to the sensei of the dojo, which is Deku's teacher. And Deku can see, he kind of goes, his eyes kind of go wide a little bit, because in this, Deku is still a fanboy. Quirk assessment is something that he's really, really big into, and it's something that he wants to get into. Because he's always found quirks interesting, because it seems like to him, his quirk gives him amazing abilities, and after what happened to what he did to Katsuki, he's always been wary. So even in this, Deku isn't really hitting back, he's just focusing on blocking and blocking alone. And this goes on for a few minutes, and then Deku gauges his opponent's strength and then starts hitting back with the same force. And gradually Deku raises the force up, and he thinks he's at a certain point, and he hits the boy with a tail. And as he hits the boy with the tail, he feels something wrap around his hand. And all of a sudden, he gets slammed into the ground. And Deku's just laying there in shock, wide-eyed. He's like, whoa, what? And you can see in the stands, the Grandmaster of the dojo is also standing up looking at this. Because up until this point, no one, and I mean no one, has been able to clearly land a clear, solid blow on Deku at all, including himself. And Deku gets up and he looks at the boy, and he bows to him, and then walks off the mat, saying, wow, I can't believe you actually did that. That's because Deku is shot. He's like, I'm not in the right mindset to finish this duel, Sensei. I can't control my strength properly. I failed. And Deku walks off the mat. And the boy is standing there, and Deku turns around and he's like, oh, I forgot. Young man, what's your name? And the boy looked shocked at Deku because he just slammed Deku, this boy, and he immediately gave up after that, but then said he can no longer control his strength. So he's a little confused, and then he just comes to it, and he's like, my name's Otero. One moment, let me get... Sorry about that, I wanted to get this name right. You hear the young man say, my name is Otero Mashiro. And Deku replies, it was a great spar. My name's Midoriya Izuku. And I'm gonna shower. Let's talk afterwards. And Otero is like kind of taken aback by this. He's like, this kid's nothing like what the rumor said. Because Izuku has kind of hurt people over the years when he's sparred with them. Like, accidentally breaking, like, arms and stuff like that. Like, literally unintentionally. Deku just puts a slight too much power into his blows, and he accidentally, like, cracks, like, a rib or something. Or he doesn't absorb the blow kind of moving, and people hit, like, his arms and stuff full on force, and, like, breaking their bones against, like, his arms and stuff. So we cut to about 30-40 minutes later, and Izuku comes out of the shower, and Ojiro's standing there too, in, like, normal clothes with, like, his duffel bag, the same as Izuku. And Izuku looks at him and is like, you know, that's the first time someone's ever gotten a clear hit on me. Kind of rattled me, to be honest. And Otero just kind of goes, whoa, what? And Izuku then explains, like, his quirk, what he believes to be a quirk is. What it does. And Otero's, like, baffled. He's like, so your quirk makes you, like, super strong, and your body moves on its own sometimes. Like, a lot of the times when, like, you're fighting and you have to consciously think about, like, your movements, like, of your entire body to prevent you from, like, hurting someone. And then Otero puts two and two together, and he's like, so is that what you were doing in our fight? Like, and Otero's like, so you weren't going all out, were you? And Deku said, yeah, if I would have went all out, I would have killed you, man. Honestly, it's kind of annoying. I feel like I never truly explore my true strength because I would accidentally kill someone. Or, like, at the minimum, like, hurt him really bad. Like my old friend. As Deku's looking down at the ground, he says this. And Otero can see, like, the sadness on, like, his face. And he's like, I know we barely know each other, but you want to talk about it, man? It seems like you're upset about something. And Izuku, like, shakes his head, and he's like, no, it's fine, and yeah, it'd be nice to talk about it. You see, when I was a little kid, there's a boy, we used to be good friends, like, we lived in the same apartment condo, like, the same condo building. And, well, after his quirk manifested, he became a real jerk. He started bullying people because they had, like, weird quirks to them, or they had weird quirks, like, kind of like your tail. Like, they had, like, some physical mutation. And one day, I just couldn't take it anymore, and, like, I confronted him. He created an explosion next to my head, like, wanting to hit me, and I kind of flipped around and did a handing kick a handstand kick against his jaw, and like I broke it in 3 places. And ever since, it's just been this huge thing between us. Like, he's kind of mellowed out in recent years, but he's still just a jerk now. And it kind of feels like I'm sort of responsible for that. And Otero's like, that's gotta be rough, man. Like, the kid that was your best friend when you were a little kid, and now you guys are like, what are you guys now? And it seems like you guys are like frenemies. And Izuku's like, frenemies? What does that mean? And Otero explains to Deku what it means, and Izuku's like, yeah, that actually fits pretty well. Because, I mean, we're not enemies, but we're not friends, but we're also not, like, strangers. And Otero gives Deku some advice on, like, interacting with people, because he notices that Deku's nervous. And he says, you don't have to be nervous around me, right? And Izuku's like, yeah, I know, it's just, it's more so my nervousness for you around me. And this is honestly the longest that I've had someone, like, this close to me. So Izuku, like, puts his hand out as, like, he shakes it. And he's like, thanks for the talk. Thanks for the talk, Otero. It was great meeting you. So, you're from what I gathered before our sparring match, you're joining the dojo, right? And Otero's like, yeah, I stopped by to come by, and like your grandmaster asked me who like I studied under beforehand. He contacted my master, and coincidentally they actually knew each other from when they were like teenagers, so that was pretty crazy. And then my master's like said that his old friend wants to use me in like a sparring match, like the best students. And well, the reason why I'm changing masters is because he's not doing so well in health, and he can't keep up with my training. And he did initially like suggest this one, and because of like an old rival of his is what he said, and then come to find out they actually used to be friends. So it's more so of me continuing my training. And definitely want to join now if I can go up against someone like you. I'd definitely be able to improve myself. Because if I can't land a hit against someone, I'm going to have to improve my technique. And they both begin to laugh. And Deku puts his hand up and they fist bump and go their separate directions. We cut back inside the dojo, and there's 2 old men standing there, and the grandmaster of the dojo looks down to the short man. See, I told you he was an amazing young man. And he's like, oh, you're right, that young Midoriya, he's an interesting fellow. Kinda reminds me of a certain someone when he was a kid, right? And the Grandmaster says, yeah, like, now that I think about it, they kind of have the same mindset and reasonings to wanting to be a hero. Funny. And with that, my viewers and beautiful souls, is the end of this episode. Now, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, the poll is still going to be up until from a few days from now when I release episode 1. Episode 1 is going to be more so of is going to be closer to an hour, because there's a lot that I want to go over. Because we'll be going over the next 5 years of Izuku's life. Him sparring with Otero and getting into fights with Katsuki. And there may be a certain young hero that our protagonist runs into. With that being said, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down below who you think should get One for All. And no, Deku is not getting it, and neither is Katsuki or Shoto. Those three are completely off the plate. It would make them completely OP with how I'm going to be developing those two characters. That being said, see you in the next video.